In a land where tradition shapes every life, the story begins with quiet winds over ancient rooftops, where history whispers through time and duty defines destiny. Inside the heavily guarded walls of Japan's imperial palace, silence carries meaning, rituals guide every movement, and centuries-old customs remain untouched by the modern world. A young girl walks slowly through a peaceful garden filled with blooming flowers, her small steps echoing innocence, unaware that her life will one day be watched by an entire nation. She is Princess Mako. Born into the prestigious lineage of Crown Prince Fumihito and Crown Princess Kiko, her future is already written in the language of duty, tradition, and sacrifice. Her childhood is disciplined and structured, filled with studies, formal appearances, and lessons in grace, where emotions are controlled and expectations are never questioned. Standing near a large window, she looks out at the distant city, her eyes reflecting curiosity, quietly wondering what life exists beyond the boundaries of royal responsibility. Outside, Tokyo pulses with life, glowing lights, crowded streets, and endless movement, a sharp contrast to the stillness of the palace she calls home. At International Christian University, she steps into a different world, surrounded by students, conversations, and the simple freedom of being treated like anyone else. Among the crowd, she meets someone unexpected, a young man named Kei Komuro, whose presence feels natural and unforced, unlike anything she has known before. Their conversations begin casually, filled with laughter and shared thoughts, growing slowly into a connection that feels genuine and deeply human. Under soft cherry blossoms, petals falling gently around them, their bond deepens, forming a love untouched by status or expectation. In those moments, away from royal titles, they are simply two people discovering each other, finding comfort in a world that feels real and free. In 2017, standing before cameras and flashing lights, their engagement is announced, marking a moment that captures the attention of an entire nation. For a brief time, it feels like a modern fairy tale, where love crosses boundaries and tradition seems ready to evolve. But the mood shifts quickly, as media scrutiny intensifies, turning admiration into suspicion and curiosity into relentless pressure. Stories begin to surface, questioning Kei Komuro's background, pulling their private lives into public debate. Headlines spread rapidly, opinions grow louder, and the once celebrated love story becomes a subject of national controversy. Inside the palace, the atmosphere grows heavier, conversations become quieter, and uncertainty fills every corner. The wedding is postponed, with no clear future in sight, leaving their relationship suspended in time. Public opinion divides sharply, with some supporting their love while others question their choices and responsibilities. Television debates, online discussions, and constant headlines create an environment where every move is analyzed and judged. Walking through long palace corridors, she carries the weight of expectation, her silence masking the emotional storm within. Behind her composed expression, pressure builds steadily, unseen yet deeply felt, as the world continues to watch. The constant scrutiny begins to take a toll, turning stress into something far more serious and personal. She is later diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, a reflection of the invisible struggle she has been carrying. Despite this, she remains outwardly calm, maintaining the dignity expected of her, even as the burden grows heavier. In quiet moments, alone with her thoughts, she begins to question everything she has been taught about duty and sacrifice. A decision slowly forms within her, shaped by love, pain, and the desire for a life that truly belongs to her. Faced with a choice between tradition and personal happiness, she prepares to take a step that will change everything. In 2021, with quiet determination, she chooses to marry Kei Komuro, fully aware of the consequences that follow. This decision means leaving behind her royal identity, a life defined by centuries of history and expectation. Under Japanese law, her marriage marks the end of her status as a member of the imperial family. She declines the financial settlement traditionally given, choosing independence over privilege. There is no grand ceremony, no celebration to mark the occasion, only a simple union built on love and resolve. As she steps away from the palace, she takes one last look behind, closing a chapter that defined her entire life. Together, they begin their journey away from Japan, leaving behind the world that once defined them. Arriving in New York City, they step into a completely different reality, where anonymity replaces recognition. The city moves fast, indifferent and vast, offering a life where they are no longer bound by titles or expectations. In a modest apartment, far from royal luxury, they begin building a simple and independent life together. Daily routines replace royal duties, and ordinary moments become meaningful in ways they never were before. Walking through busy streets, she blends into the crowd, experiencing a sense of freedom she has never known. Despite the challenges of adjustment, there is a quiet sense of peace in living life on her own terms. Looking back at her journey, the contrast between past and present becomes clear, marked by sacrifice and courage. Her story is no longer about royalty, but about the strength to choose one's own path despite overwhelming pressure. Standing under the open sky, surrounded by a world that no longer defines her, she carries a quiet confidence. For the first time, her life is shaped not by tradition, but by her own choices and desires. This is not just the story of a princess who left her crown behind, but of a woman who chose love over expectation. A story of courage, resilience, and the price that sometimes comes with true freedom. Some walk away from everything they have ever known, not to lose themselves, but to finally become who they were meant to be.